Because we live in a day and age where we are more depressed than ever before. And I talk about this often. We've got a ton of information, a ton of life coaches, a ton of programs. Google right now has more information on how to be happy than we've ever had before. We have more things, we have more beautiful places to live, we have more food, we have more, yet we are more depressed than ever before. And I used to fit into that category. I lived in a mindset of scarcity versus abundance, and I focused on what I didn't have. But that all changed. That all changed when I met Happiest. Now, about 3 years ago, I used to live in an apartment in Sydney, and I met this guy who was our neighbor at the time. And he was very unique because this guy had no legs. He had to strap on legs from his knee down. He had to strap on these plastic legs. It was a really flimsy one as well. He had to put both on, gently stand or toughly stand himself up. And he had that little metal frame that he used to walk around in, and he'd stand and walk really slowly. It was trouble. It was difficult to get anywhere. However, this guy taught me a lot about life. You see, I used to complain about a lot. I used to be a very negative, glass half empty type of guy. Many people say they're pessimists. I used to be like that. And what I realized was that wasn't because of the circumstances in my life, because here was a man who had no legs. Now, his story, it was a sad one. He lost his partner at about 62. His partner died unexpectedly, and he started living life on his own. Then a year later, he had a blood clot in one of his legs and lost that leg. They had to cut it off to save his life. 2 years after that, he had just got used to living with one leg, and then boom, another blood clot in the other leg. So he was legless and he had lost his partner. But when I met him, he was always smiling. He was always happy. So I actually began to train him at the gym for free. I used to walk him, or sort of walk him to the gym. And he used to teach me about life. And I always wondered, how is this guy so positive? For a man who's lost his legs and lost the love of his life, how can he be happy and positive all the time? And when I asked him that question, his answer was simple. I don't focus on what I don't have. I don't have time for that. He told me the time you spend on this planet is your life. And when you waste your time, you waste your life. And he said, life's too short to focus on what I don't have, because there's so much that I do. I have a roof over my head. I have somebody like you, Tony, to come and help me. I have friends come over and we drink wine. I have food. I focus on what I do have, and for that, I am eternally grateful. And it took me a while to figure it out. But it's true when we say where focus goes, energy flows. I've met men and women who have got an injury to their shoulder and been suicidal because of it. I've met men and women who have lost their partner and been depressed or anxious for years afterwards. I was one of them. Yet here was a guy who focused on what he did have in life, who was simply grateful, and he was one of the happiest men I've ever met. That changed my life. What do you have in your life? I talk about this often in my videos, but it's different hearing it in a story like this. What are you grateful for? What do you have abundance of? It could be friends, family, loved ones. If you don't have that, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food? If you're watching this video, you're in the top 5% of the planet. What do you have in life? What can you learn from Happiest's story? I know for me, it changed my life.